All right. Hello, everyone. I am UnsungNPC. We're here with another class video for Pillars of Eternity 1. And we are starting off with the Barbarian class. As I've mentioned in my Barbarian video for Pathfinder, I do not like Barbarians in RPGs, but I'm still going to go over it to the best of my abilities. I have played with a Barbarian character before, so let's dive in. Now, this guidebook I'm looking at goes over the stuff from Pillars 1, so I will have to go over the stuff from Pillars, from the White March 1 and White March 2 DLCs, because those add levels and abilities to your character. So, Barbarians. We all know what Barbarians are, alright? Here's kind of like how their stats go. Here's the skills they get bonuses to: athletics and survival. Their health and endurance are both very high as they level up. Their accuracy is average and their deflection is low. So they're going to have a lower deflection overall over the course of leveling up. And then they get Carnage as a starting ability. So when a barbarian hits with a melee attack, they make reduced damage attacks at all other enemies within a short distance of the target. So it's a tiny smidgen AoE melee strike kind of thing. Alright, now let's talk about the barbarian special abilities. Okay, the special abilities, I believe how it works is you get abilities or spells depending on the class at each level up, and then you have class talents that you get every other level up that are kind of like feats almost, I guess. So think about it like that. If you've played Pathfinder or whatever, they're kind of like feats that you get every other level up. So these are the abilities though. And for the abilities, you've got Brute Force, which, as it says, is a passive ability. And what it does is, Barbarian hits so hard, ordinary means of defense can be easily overpowered. Okay, so you're able to attack Fortitude instead of Deflection if the Fortitude of the creature is lower than their Deflection. So you'll just attack whichever's lower. Which is really cool. It kind of makes it easier to really like hit people, which is the barbarian's job, right? You've got Bloodlust, which gives you attack speed increased. It's a passive though, and it activates once you've personally downed at least 2 enemies. So after you've killed like at least 2 people, then you start attacking faster. Which is good. One stands alone. This means that grants a melee damage bonus when the barbarian is engaged by 2 or more enemies, and the barbarian cannot be flanked unless engaged by more than 3 enemies. So normally you need 2 enemies to flank. Now you need 4 to flank you. And you get melee damage bonus when engaged by 2 or more enemies, which is really nice. Threatening presence. The barbarian's mere presence becomes so intimidating that enemies are filled with nauseating dread. So as long as the barbarian is stationary, like it's not moving, then nearby enemies may be sickened if they fail the will check, or if it gets past their will defense. Thick-skinned, they have increased damage reduction, which is cool. Barbaric yell lets out a terrifying yell, frightening enemies. Gets checked against will, right? Okay, we got some more over here. Barbaric shout A dreadful shout that terrifies enemies instead of frightening them. Wild Sprint. This one's a fun one. I always take Wild Sprint. I think it's a good one. I don't know why these aren't in level order. I think that's so weird that they're not. I don't know what this ordering is. It's not alphabetical. It's not by level. It's weird. But anyway, Wild Sprint is I love this one. You're able to charge with reckless abandon, so you can ignore movement, stop of engagement, and gain bonuses to all defenses against disengagement attacks. Basically, attacks of opportunity and stuff like that don't really bother you. Heart of Fury. Each equipped weapon attacks every nearby enemy, doing extra damage and inflicting carnage if applicable. Barbarian swings viciously in a lightning quick flurry, taking on all corners. Very cool. Frenzy. Barbarians get into a frenzied state. You gain might, constitution, attack speed, but you gain a deflection penalty. So you're a little easier to hit, but you also hit way harder. So that's cool. Vengeful Defeat enacts a final revenge when the barbarian is reduced to 0 endurance, calling him or her to perform an instant carnage full attacks at everyone in range. I love this passive because a lot of the abilities decrease a barbarian's defense, so you're more likely to go down than any other character, really. And when you do, being able to just attack at everyone near you as you fall down is just an incredible ability. So I really dig that one. And then Savage Defiance I like a lot too. So you regenerate a large amount of endurance over 12 seconds. That's a great once per encounter ability to get that health back up. Any class that gives you a self-healing ability, I always take those. I think they're great to have no matter what class you are. Okay. Talked about Frenzy. Blooded causes the barbarian to lash out when in pain, granting a bonus damage for as long as his or her endurance is below 50%. That's a great ability as well, and it's super great when paired with one of the godlike abilities, because the godlikes have a lot of abilities that activate when they're below 50%, and so do the humans. They also have an ability, Fighting Spirit. So pairing that, adding another bonus to when your health goes when your endurance goes below 50% is crazy awesome. It's a good combination to go for there. And then here's the Carnage one that you get. Barbarian attacks become so forceful as to impact others. Yeah, we already kind of read that, so we know what that is. Now, we're going to go to here to look at the other abilities, because each class gets an ability from White March 1 and an ability from White March 2. So the ability for White March 1 is Eye of the Storm. And Eye of the Storm makes a barbarian cannot be engaged by enemies more than one level below own level. Okay? So that means that like enemies that are more than one level below. So they have to be your level, higher, or just one below. Otherwise they can't engage with you. And this is why barbarians can kind of be built two ways in Pillars 1. You can make them an engaged barbarian where you can handle lots of enemies, take lots of enemies down, but you can also do one that just moves freely around the battlefield all that they want. And this would be great for that, because you'll be able to just not be engaged by anyone and just run around and just start hacking at people in a less of a frontline offensive character and more just running around, which is cool. And then Dragon Leap, I love this ability. It's a foe AoE that does 20 to 30 crush damage and dazes them and makes you immune to engagement for a little bit. So you'll just like select an AoE like selection, and then you'll just leap and then jump down and slam people around you. I love Dragon Leap. It's awesome. This says it also comes from White March 1. So does White March to not give anything is the question. Here we are. All right, we have barbaric retaliation. So the character hits themselves for raw damage. Characters hitting self. Raw damage, barbaric retaliation. Oh, okay. So any character that hits you as the barbarian takes raw damage from hitting you. That's what that does. It's worded weird like that in the game, but that's what it means. Bloodthirst. Recover immediately after killing an enemy. Great passive ability. Really fantastic ability. And then Echoing Shout, which is a foe target AoE that does crush damage and dazes them, which is the highest level shout ability the barbarian can have. I personally didn't play with a lot of the shout stuff when I did a barbarian. I just focused on being just an absolute just destroyer of people instead. I didn't focus on the shout stuff, but that might be fun to play with sometime. So that's what the barbarian does with that. And this is all the other stuff. Okay, just want to make sure there's not new talents or anything. It's just the abilities, and I think that's just abilities. Okay. I don't see new talents, so I think we're good on that. Now, talents. Talents, these you can take anytime. They aren't level... I don't think they're level required. They just require you to have the ability first. Like, you can't have accurate carnage without carnage. You can't have barbaric... Oh, you can get barbaric blow. You can't have greater frenzy without frenzy, right? Okay, barbaric blow changes carnage a little bit as well. So, but talents, remember, we already went over all of the other like talents that anyone can choose from, and then these are talents that you can choose from as a barbarian. So, first you have accurate carnage, which improves the accuracy of secondary attacks from carnage. You've got powerful sprint, which changes the speed of wild sprint to be increased, which is cool. Stalwart defiance strengthens savage defiance, causing it to provide a bonus to all defenses instead of what was it? Okay, so savage defiance heals you, right? And then stalwart defiance also makes it to where it increases all of your defenses. Great ability there. Great talent. Barbaric blow. The barbarian deals a massive blow, causing additional crits and extra damage on crits for both the blow and any resulting hits from carnage. Carnage also hits in a bigger area. So that one's a good one. These are all good. If you take any of these original abilities, you need to take the modified one, because there's nothing that they do that changes it in a negative way. They all just increase it. So I would, if you use any of the original abilities, I would take the talents for them. And then Greater Frenzy cultivates the barbarian's inner rage, granting additional bonuses while under the effects of frenzy. So you get additional might and constitution, which is cool. So those are great. Cannot get enough of those. And then also, the thing to mention, what you can do for talents, I forgot to go over these in the talents video, but you can actually take like because each character has like each class has a like signature ability that's kind of like their main ability they start with, and there's a talent that you can take where you get a minor version of that ability if you want to. So you can do like minor version of Holy Radiance, Sneak Attack, Nature's Mark, Whisper of Treason, Transcendent Suffering, all of their different things. And for the Barbarian, it's Frenzy. So you can have like a minor Frenzy, which is called Outlander's Frenzy. And you can't take this as a Barbarian, but this is the Barbarian ability that you can take if you're any other class. And what this does is it gives you 3 might, 3 con, attack speed, and -10 deflection. Which is still pretty nice, actually. I didn't really mess with a lot of the cross-class talents, but some of them are actually pretty nice. Like sneak attack, for example, would be good on a lot of different classes. So yeah. So this is the Barbarian. Basically, I mean, you have kind of like set abilities and set talents, and let's see how many abilities do you have to choose from. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. You got 19 abilities. Okay, so you get an ability at every odd level and a talent at every even level. And then talents can be improving upon your abilities, or talents can be the generalized talents that we went over in the other video. But abilities are every odd level. So it's not, so you'll only get 8 abilities and 8 talents. So you really have to be careful about which ones you're choosing and make sure that you're building your character the way that you want to. But on the bright side, you can go respec your character at any tavern in the game. And totally change up how you want to do things. Maybe you don't like an ability. It's totally fine. Go fix it. I've done that in playthroughs all the time. All the time. So you can totally do that if you want to. And then Barbarians, I have found that Barbarians work well. Oops. Barbarians work well with dual-wielding weapons or using two-handers. Haven't had a whole lot of luck with sword and shield Barbarians, but that kind of sounds fun, so maybe someone should give it a try and let me know how that goes. But yeah, I love dual-wielding Barbarians. All the hits they get is ridiculous, and I like two-handed Barbarians as well. Both are great. But that's just me. Do whatever you want. But yeah, this is the Barbarian. I'm UnsungNPC, and I will catch you guys in the next class video for Pillars of Eternity.